Shalom. Crown of Thorns. What do you think of when you hear about the Crown of Thorns? It's nowhere else in history as it ever mentioned. There's only one place, and it's right at the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, where the Roman soldiers put it on his head, and they were doing it in mockery. So let's go to John 19:1 and 2. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him, and the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they put on him a purple robe. I've always wondered, as a kid growing up in Sunday school, when I'd hear this right here about the crown of thorns, I really don't think much too more about it. But I've always wondered, why a crown of thorns? Why didn't they use a crown of pottery shards? A crown of glass, a crown of nails, something else at hand. Something could be more painful, but why a crown of thorns? Now you can see where the Roman soldiers, they were doing this out of mockery. I mean, because they put it on there as they were mocking him because he claimed to be the king of Jews. And he was the king of the Jews. He's the king of all of us. But why a crown of thorns? Why thorns? Well, we can go back to Genesis 3:7-18. And it says, Genesis 3:7-18 says, And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it, in all the days of thy life. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herbs of the field. So we can see right here that the thorns are a result of disobeying God. Because Adam and Eve had, in all the Garden of Eden, they had any fruit they wanted, they could take. And God says, do not eat of the tree in the middle, which is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Do not eat it. That's all he asked, that one thing. And the serpent basically talked them into eating this one thing, and then that's where they basically disobeyed God. And doing that, God cursed the ground and made thorns and thistles. I purchased this right here, this thorn right here, and I gotta be careful, it is very sharp. I purchased this from a Christian family that lives outside of Jerusalem. So they basically harvest this and they make these. And I tell you what, it's really light in weight, but think about the heavy burden that comes with it. And each one of these, man, is really sharp. If I take my finger on any one of these, I mean, they are almost like razor sharp. They hurt bad. It should be almost like a picture of sin itself. Anytime we touch sin, it should ouch, hurt, ouch. You know what I'm saying? So, right, this is right here. So, the thorns are a result of not listening to God. It's a picture of sin. All right? So when they put this on Jesus' head, let me put it this way. When a crown is laid upon a man's head, he becomes king. He becomes king of that land, that domain, that kingdom. So when they put this on Jesus' head, in mockery, yes, it was in mockery, but when they did that, he became king. Not knowing they actually were making him king of sin. The king of the curse, and the curse of sin, of disobeying God. So they made him a king of the curse, the king of sin. Now for there to be a king, there's got to be a kingdom, right? There would be no purpose of having a king if there was no kingdom or a domain. So if there is a kingdom, there's got to be people in the kingdom. There's got to be subjects in this kingdom. That's us. And we were born in sin. We were born in this kingdom of sin, this kingdom of the curse. All right? Psalms 51:5 even tells us that we were born in iniquity, born in sin. So now go to Romans 5:19. For as one man's disobedience many were sinners, Adam, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous, Jesus Christ. So let's go to Colossians 1:13 and 14. Who has delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his Son, dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sin. Right here in Colossians 1:13 and 14, it says, and he who hath delivered us from the power of darkness, that he is Jesus, Yeshua. And it says the power of darkness. I like some translations, like the NASAB, the North American Standard Bible, and the NLT, New Living Translations. They refer to this power as a domain or a kingdom. A kingdom of darkness. What is that darkness? That darkness would be sin, our sin. And it says it has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. And the word translated, you can also say he transferred us. Alright? And what I'm trying to get here is when Jesus put on this crown of thorns, or they put this crown of thorns, and he let it be put on him. He let it be put. So when he had this crown put on him, he became king of the curse, king of this domain, king of sin. Now, a king in a land, in this kingdom of sin, only a king can pardon somebody from their wrongdoings. So Jesus, Yeshua, he became the king. At the moment that I believe that they put this crown, ooh, that may be sharp. They put this on him, he became the king of sin. He became the king of the curse. And only a king can pardon somebody or let somebody go. You know, another lower subject cannot do that. It's like you get somebody, say, here in the United States, you cannot take the president or someone else. They cannot pardon somebody from another country like Ireland or China. So you can only do it in your land, your king, your domain. And so I believe, and then 3 days later, Jesus became from the king of the curse, the king of sin. 3 days later, after he died, he became the king of righteousness. Now we're in a different kingdom. He has transferred us or translated us from the king of sin, or from the kingdom of sin into the kingdom of righteousness. We are now with him. So let's go to Galatians 3:13. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law. Did you catch that? He has redeemed us from the curse. So he has basically pardoned us, or he has translated us or transferred us to the kingdom of righteousness. Sorry, people. The righteousness. So, and then you go to Romans 7. Last one here. Romans 7, 22 and 20 through 25. This is Paul talking. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of the mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind of myself, serve the law of God, but with the flesh, the law of sin. You know, right here it shows you that Paul says, I delight in the law of God. He delights in the commandments of God. That's what the law of God is. And I know Romans 6:14 says we're not under law, but we're under grace. It says that. But most people automatically says that law is the commandments of God, or the 10 Commandments. It never says that. It actually says, if you read right here, the law of sin. In Romans, there's actually six different kinds of laws it mentions. There's the law of faith, the law of God, which is the commandments of God, the law of righteousness, the law of the spirit of life, the law of sin. No, then there's actually the law of a marriage between a husband and his wife. And so I believe that when God, we're not the law that was talking about there is not the commandments of God. It's the law of sin. The Ten Commandments was not nailed to the cross right here. It was actually a ceremonial law in Colossians 2:19, I think. But what I'm trying to get at here is my message today is that when the Roman soldiers, the pagan Roman soldiers, I don't think they knew what they were doing. They couldn't have. So when they put this crown of thorns on Jesus, they made him king of the curse because of these thorns. Ouch. King of the curse, the king of sin. Because only the king can pardon me. You can't pardon me, I can't pardon you. Only a king can pardon somebody of that domain. And we were born in sin. And 3 days later, we were in a different kingdom. We were in a kingdom of righteousness. That's where we're at now. So, I hope you enjoy this teaching. I've really enjoyed studying about this crown of thorns. It's a different aspect. And take it with you. Next time you hear about the crown of thorns, think about he has become the king of the curse. He's become king of the sin. And when he became the king, only the king can pardon the people. And that people is me and you. We were born in sin. And now we're in the kingdom of righteousness. Shalom and have a good day.